U.S. greenhouse gas emissions fell 10% in 2020 as COVID curbed travel. Um, I think that this is an obvious statement. Mostly, they're talking about how rail and other things have decreased, essentially. So, the historic jolt to American life, which has resulted in more than 375,000 deaths, unfortunately, 375,000 deaths, and a surge in joblessness. I saw the job numbers to be close to, I saw two numbers. I saw 900,000 and I saw about 1.1 million. Um, Caused many states to impose travel restrictions and curb our business activity. Resulted in greenhouse gas emissions dropping about 10.3% last year, according to a new estimate by Rodeman's Group. But emissions reductions come in at huge cost and will likely rebound as vaccines are distributed, authors of the reports had said. It is the largest annual drop in emissions since the Second World War, outstripping a temporary downturn in the 2009 recession, and it forced U.S. carbon pollution to its lowest level in 3 decades. The reduction will also push the U.S. towards its goal of reducing emissions by at least the quarter by 2025, based in 2005 levels that it submitted to the Paris Climate Agreement. So that's a positive.
More
It's
pandemic. Is that what
positive.
you're saying?
I'm sorry. It's in my mind. It's positive and negative from what I'm hearing because yeah, I'm hearing stuff about things that are happening out here with the rail system and everything else. Uh, they said like a lot of things are going to go up in price because of the ridership being less.
Yes.
Less people are, that's a bad aspect. And the fact that like it's going to go back up, emissions are going to go back up is kind of a bad thing as well at some point. But for now, it's good. So like what they did with
I th-
COVID when it first started, the like I said, we've talked about this once again. Um, how the skies and everything and the car, less people were driving, and the skies and everything looked so much cleaner. The air seemed so much better. The temperature and everything else seemed more regulated.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
air was better. The
yeah, it
sky
was
looked
beautiful.
better. Everything.
Like I enjoyed
so
my summer. I felt my summer. We had like a little cookout in the backyards with the family that were here. We have like a relatively big family that lives in one house. I wouldn't say it's huge, but what is it? Six of us,
Yeah, we're a party.
uh,
7.
7 of us. There's 7 of us in this
we're
house. So we'd cook outside. We had like a little small pool outside, like like one of those ones you make yourself, and to cool off. It was nice. It could have been nicer, I guess, if we had that same kind of environment, like with the clean air and everything, and everybody were to be able to bring family members over. But you had to do what you had to do during what's the word
Lockdown.
lockdown. Yeah, yeah,
I think it's positive because it's kind of just a wake up call that you can change the structure of your systems to
hmm
make them more, just more, I don't know, a little bit less environmentally damaging. Um, I think that it says that the rail is obviously one of the biggest things that we have to define. We have to stop coal mining. We have to stop gas mining. We need to do that as a. I know that that's one of the things that we have to fight Biden on is natural gas. They believe in doing natural gas mining. Um, but that's what I'm just talking about. Like we know that we can change the environment just by just not traveling.
yep,
And I think that it means that some people are not going to go back to work in their office, or they're not going to go to their work in their office every day. And I don't think this is, I think Robert talked about it, and I'm a little bit more like I want to get back out there and get in stuff, but I don't need to be in the office every day, or I don't need to be in a place every day. It's just, I think that's going to be part of the new normal, is that it's going to be, you can take a couple days here, take 3 days off every day, every week, and stay at home and just send off the stuff. You send off what you need to do at work.
yep. Yep. It's crazy like how they, but you can't tell that to the business owners. The business owners don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? Like it's funny.
Well,
It's like you got to get back to work.
Definitely not with COVID.
Like sorry, we
it's
got to
gonna
shut this.
really depend on the it's gonna really depend on the type of business, right?
Yep. I just find it funny because you know people were like losing money and they were pissed. They're like, oh, but you know that's the thing though. It's like everybody just needs to know how to adapt. Everybody has to look at everything and see what it is, assess what it is, and then like change things for the better. That's what people used to do back in the days. Now, you know, when they didn't have the technology that could do a lot of this stuff for them, you know, they used to be like, well, what are we gonna do? And how can we change this? And they literally made an effort. Now it's just like, you know, if it's not profitable, we got to make a change. If they're making money and it seems like it's stable, they don't care. They don't want you to change a damn thing. They'll keep it the way it is, even if it pollutes the environment or whatever it is. It's just it's ass backwards thinking. You know what I mean? Like if I had a $1 billion, maybe not necessarily a billion, but enough for me to have a big company. My thing would be like, how could we be more efficient? How could we do more for our people? How could everybody? I wouldn't hire more people than I need. You know what I mean? I wouldn't overextend myself or overextend them. You know what I mean? I would try to keep a certain kind of balance, you know, where I wouldn't have to fire people regularly, you know, as much as possible. Obviously, if a person's an idiot, I got to fire them. But you know, I would do my. I don't mean an idiot in the sense like you know, like they're stupid. I mean an idiot like you know, some people come to work and they disrupt things, and you know, those type of idiots, the ones that aren't necessarily meant
I
to
don't
be.
think you have to explain it.
No, I feel
I
like you
think
know,
you're
because
good.
I feel like you know, we live in a world where if you say the wrong things, like, and I don't even think what I'm saying is that major, but if you say the wrong things on the internet and they hear it, oh, that guy said people are idiots and blah blah blah, and they'll take it to a whole different degree from where I'm like, you know, trying to express it. So I always feel like maybe I shouldn't be so. I guess like some of these talk show hosts or people that are talking on the internet, they don't seem to care and they benefit from being like obnoxious or whatever. I don't want to insult anybody. I want to bring people in. I want people to understand that sometimes being harsh isn't a negative thing, but I also don't want to scare them off. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people, like you could tell them like the people that tell you the most harshest things are the people that love you. You know what I mean? It's not that they're going to be honest with you, right? So I'm trying to be honest, but I don't want to be an a-hole doing it too much to people that don't really get that kind of like way of thinking. You know what I mean? Like some.
But you also have to be courageous in your convictions,
No, you're right.
whatever it
And
is.
Teresa's told me that.
Sometimes you just
Teresa's told me
and
that, and
it's and I okay. So we could talk about this off the cuff because we finished with that discussion. But off the cuff, when we're really talking about this, yes, conflict brings audiences. So
yep,
that's one of the things that you don't want to be one of those people that just uses conflict as a way to bring in an audience. But you shouldn't be afraid. I mean, obviously there are certain terms that you shouldn't use, and
yep,
I think we can figure that out pretty easily. But like, I think you have to understand that your audience can figure out context. And if they're
yep.
not going to be able to figure out context, they're not really worth trying to force to be your audience.
You're right. You're right.
And there's so much out
And
there. There's so much out there nowadays that people are finding their people that they are reaching, their people that they can talk to. I think that has a lot to do with the power of the internet. You know, if it's not your cup of tea, if we're not your cup of tea, there's so many other things to watch, you know. But we want to connect with the people that do understand and do hear us and understand that yeah, we're not bad people at the heart of it. We're not Trumpers. You know,
and we're
we're
tame.
trying.
I feel that we're tame. We're
Yeah,
tame.
I feel like I cursed the most out of all of you.
It's I don't know. I just I wanna feel like we invite people in. I don't want to be soft. I don't want to be like, you know what I mean. But at the same, like I want to be harsh at the people that deserve to get their ass kicked. You know what I mean? Like those are the people. Like I'll be quick to say I can't stand Trump. I can't stand like certain people, but you know, like, but at the same time, I want to, like, look, everybody, I accept everybody. You know, you might have been taught the wrong things, or you might have been misled, you know, but I want to help you see that some of these people that you trusted in life, or just because you're cool with them in theory. Just like it's like when you grow up, you have those friends that are knuckleheads that you gravitate to because you feel like they're your friends. And then 10, 20 years later, these people are never talking to you again. And it's like, why did I devote that much time and effort and dedication to these people that really didn't give a damn about me? You know what I mean? I used to, do things that I shouldn't do, back in the days when I was younger. I'm not going to dwell too much on that. But with those people that I used to do those things with, I used to think those people were my friends, right? And then later on, time goes on, and I'm not getting phone calls from these people. The only time I get phone calls from a lot of them, hey man, I heard you doing this. You think you could do this for me? That's all I get it from. I don't get like, hey, how you doing? You know what I mean? Like, is everything good with you and your family? Are you safe? Is life great? Like, are you managing through COVID? Or, like, I don't get those phone calls like that. You know what
Well,
I
I think
mean?
that's just all part of growing up. Your circle becomes smaller because I think too, a part of you doesn't want to deal with the same bullshit that you've always dealt with, and people realize, I think, especially during COVID, people have come to a point where they're like, I'm going to try to take care of myself. I'm going to try to focus on my own well-being and my own mental health so that way I don't have to worry about placating people that don't care about me or making time for them in my life that they don't care. Like just like they say phone calls go both ways. It's the same thing when it comes to friends and everything like that too. You know, these people that aren't reaching out to you, these people that aren't in contact with you, you realize it now, and I think a lot of people are realizing it now during COVID. Like, okay, I'm going to keep my own mental health the priority. I'm going to say no to people. I'm going to tell people, some people, they don't take the same seriousness when it comes to this whole COVID thing that other people do, and some people, there have been friends that, they want you to go out and they're, oh, it's not a big deal. And I see people, they'll end up going to like dinner with their friends and everybody outside at like some restaurant, and it's like, okay, this stuff's not over. You have to be comfortable enough to say and care about your own well-being. If it's going to cause you anxiety, if it's going to cause you stress, to say no, I'm not going to do this. And it ends up canceling out a lot of people. It cancels out a lot of friends because then all of a sudden they're like, oh,
Hmm.
well, then you don't care. Well, maybe you don't care. Maybe you're not caring about what I'm feeling. It. I think it's shined a lot of light to a lot of different people with this whole pandemic of who are really friends and who aren't, who you didn't hear from at all to call you and check up on you and say, hey, how are you dealing with all of this. But at the same time, people are trying to focus on themselves. I really think that that is a big issue right now, is like we're trying to just stay with our heads above water. If you can throw out the life preserver to ask a friend, hey, are you okay? And there are some friendships and relationships that you can have where you don't talk for a long time. I'm thankful to have a couple of friends that are like that I don't have to talk to every single day, but when I do talk to them, it's like you can pick up
Because you're awesome.
from where you left off.
Because everybody loves you. You're a good person. I love you, baby.
Well, in
But
the end, I'm gonna have to make some. I'm gonna have to make some phone calls. I'm gonna have to not
Well,
just do my
some
poker
people
night
need
like I
to
do on
reach out.
Fridays.
I mean, like,
Some
it's
people
a
need to
hard
reach out,
time.
but at the same time, they have to recognize when other people aren't going through an easy time either. The phone goes both ways. And if you can make the effort, even if it's been a while, and you do reach out to somebody and say, hey, how's it going? It makes a difference. Especially if you're not calling to ask for something like some of Rob's friends. Don't call to ask for something. Call because you care. Call because you're interested in this person, seeing if they are
Well,
drowning or if they're surviving.
here's a huge question, and actually, this is something that is difficult. What happens when I think that a part of the COVID syndrome is that basically you start to overshare on social media, and a lot of people that I know have started to share a way more than I ever saw them share before. So I see them with their families and with their lives, and you kind of almost feel like you're being invasive in their lives. Like if you're not living the same kind of situation, it's harder to communicate with those people. That's what I've noticed. It's just like because you're like it's hard. It's hard enough to survive during this COVID experience, but like to like take up anybody's time almost feels selfish.